All right, here we go. 8M4 lesson 4, solving a linear equation. This is something that we've done before. You did this last year in 7th grade. This should not be terribly difficult. We're just going to try and remind you of what we did last year, and then remind you of a few of the properties of equality that we need, some of these building blocks that we need to justify how we solve these equations. So let's go. Let's get going. Let's go over to our sketch pad. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Here we go. All right, let's get learning now. Okay, there we are with homework help. We're not starting with homework help. We're going to start with our lesson. Okay, so we're going to talk today about solving equations, right? Solving equation over here. And we're going to talk about solving linear equations. Everything we do today is linear equations. Remember, linear equations are, let's just go back and remind ourselves what a linear expression is. A linear expression has only, terms with exponents of 1 or constants. So for example, this is a linear expression. So this is a linear expression. This here on the left side is a linear expression, and this thing on the right side is a linear expression. And so, right, when we have an expression equaling an expression, this whole thing is an equation. Right? So an expression equaling an expression is an equation. Now let's go back and let's look at why this is a linear expression. The reason this is a linear expression is because each term is either a constant or it has an exponent with a variable with an exponent of 1. So, right, when we don't write the exponent, that these x's have like this imaginary exponent of 1. So this is a variable, has a variable with exponent of 1. So is this. These are all constants. So this makes this a linear expression. For example, this would not, if we had this would not be a linear expression if we had, something like this. This would be not linear because we have exponents, because these exponents do not equal 1, right? So this would be not linear, but this is indeed linear because every x, there's only x's and constants, and there's no exponents other than exponents of 1. So let's just get rid of all this, and then we're gonna move forward. I wanted to make that point clear to help you understand how you can detect that everything that we do today is a linear expression. And that's because of that rule that says all exponents, or all variables have exponents of 1. Okay, so now let's talk about the main point of this today's exercise, today's lesson, which is to solve equations, right? And the whole idea of solving an equation is finding a value for a constant, for finding a value for a variable. Thank you for correcting me. For the variable that makes the equation true. So we are going to try and find out what value of x makes this equation true. Okay, that's our question. That's the whole question of today. And we're going to continue. The way we're going to do it is we're going to continually make an equation simpler and simpler until all that is left is a variable on one side, like the left side, and a constant number on the right side. And then that constant will be our solution. So let's just watch how this works. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to solve this in Greek. So I'm going to do this thing called distribution, which we remember is a thing we learned about in 7th grade. So we're going to turn this into plus 2x minus 2, and we're just going to pull this thing down like this. And so this was distribution. Now to make it simpler once more, I'm going to take my x terms, combine them into 4x's and 2x's makes 6x. And I'm going to combine my constant terms, minus 7. Minus 5 minus 2 is minus 7 equals 11. So this is called combining like terms. And this is something we did last year. Maybe we did it this year, I don't remember. Now I'm going to add 7 to the left side, and I'm going to add 7 to the right side, and I'm going to get 6x equals 18. And this was called the addition property of equality. I can add, if I have a balance, if I have two things that are equal, I can add the same number to both sides, and it's still going to be equal. That's called the addition property of equality. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 6, and I'm going to get x equals 3. And that's called the division property of equality. If I have two things that were equal, 6x and 18, I can divide each side by 6. I'm still going to have an equality. So my answer is x equals 3. Now that's what I think will make this thing work. And now the next step is this thing called your check step. I want to check my solution. I'm pretty sure that x equals 3 works, but the way I check it is I substitute my proposed solution into the original equation and check that both sides are equal. Then I know I have a true equation. So I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to rewrite this using, but instead of writing x, I'm going to put a 3 in. So I'm going to say 4 times x, 4 times 3 minus 5 plus 2 times 3 minus 1 equals 11. So we're going to check and see if that works. So 4 times 3 is 12 minus 5 plus, 3 minus 1, I have to do that first, to 2 times 2. So I did my multiplication here, and I did my simplification over here. I got 12, and does that equal 11? 12 minus 5 plus 4. 12 minus 5 is 7 plus 4 equals 11. So this is true. So it worked. So my solution is indeed x equals 3, happy cat. So that's what we're going to do today, solving equations. And that's all lesson 4 is about. Solving equations and really justifying each step along the way. Okay, next step, next slide. Now what we want to do is I want to teach you, remind you the properties we can use to simplify an equation. And those are these: the addition property of equality, the subtraction property of equality, multiplication property of equality, and division property of equality. Distribution, simplification, and combining like terms. I'll give you an example of each. So here we go. Addition property of equality says that if x minus 5 equals 6, I can add 5 to both sides, and I can get x equals 11. So that's addition. Subtraction is the opposite of that. So if I have, and so sometimes you're doing the property will solve it. Sometimes it just gets you closer. So let's do one that just gets us closer. 2x plus 1 equals 17. So here I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides to make it simpler, and I get 2x equals 16. So that's my subtraction property. Notice how I've simplified. This is simpler. And then I can go about solving from here. So in each case, I get simpler. But I don't always solve it. But I'm one step closer to solving it. Multiplication. So if I have a third times y equals 4, I can multiply both sides by 3. And 3 times a third is cancel your 3's. You get y equals 12. That's multiplication. And division is kind of the opposite. If I have 4y equals 16, this is 4, I can divide both sides by 4, and I get y equals 4. Distribution. This is all, should be a reminder. I mean, we've done all this before. These are all building blocks. This is review. We've done all of these properties have been learned before in 6th and 7th grade. 5, distribution is 2 times q plus 4 equals 20. So that would be, distribution works like this, right? A number multiplied by 2 numbers or 2 or more numbers on the inside, 2 or more terms on the inside. 2q plus 8 equals 20. That's distribution. Simplification simply means this. Don't get too confused by this one. This simply means if you have 4y plus 7 minus 4 equals 8 over 2. Simplification would be the step that just says I can, 7 minus 4 is 3. So that goes 4y plus 3, or dividing 8 by 2, gets you down to 4. So that's simplification. Simplification means like doing simple math. That's another way to think about simplification. And then 7, combining like terms. I showed you that before, but that says 2x plus 4 plus 9x minus 3 equals 10. You find your like terms, and you get 11x, and then you take your other like terms, which are your constants, and add 1. 4 minus 3 is a 1, equals 10. Okay, so let's put this together over here, and let's solve this equation. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do this, and we're going to say minus 5x plus 20 equals 15. And that's step 1, that's distribution. 2, we're going to use the subtraction property of equality to subtract 20 from both sides. Remember, look at this. See how we're making it, this is step 1. We're making it simpler. Negative 5x plus 20 minus 20 is 0 equals minus 5. 15 minus 20 minus 5. And so that is the subtraction property of equality. Now, our final step, we're going to divide by negative 5. Negative 5x divided by negative 5 is x. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. And that was by the division property of equality. Now, most teachers like you to do your check. So let's do our check. We take our x equals minus 1. or x equals 1, and we're going to plug it in and see if it works. Negative 5 times 1 minus 4 equals 15. Well, negative 5 times 1 minus 4 is negative 3 equals 15. And yes, negative 5 times negative 3 is 15. Check. So we're okay. So we're going to happy cat this guy, happy cat this guy, happy cat our rules. And we're going to move on now. We're just going to go straight into homework help. Let's go straight over to homework help. I got 3 problems for you, 2 on one page and 1 on the next page. So you're going to solve each. This is the way the homework. I think you have 7 homework problems. We're going to solve each equation, justifying each step, and then we're going to check our answer. So I want you to pause and try. Pause and try. Do both of these, and I'm going to come back and we're going to solve them together. Okay, first we're going to, now I assume you're back. So let's subtract 5 from both sides. And we get 2x equals 12. And that's by the subtraction property of equality. Now we're going to divide both sides by 2. And we get x equals 6. And that's by the division property of equality. Now our check step says to substitute our 6 in for our x in our original equation here. So we're going to rewrite this original equation with the 6 instead of the x. Does 2 times 6 plus 5 equal 17? Well, does 12 plus 5 equal 17? Yes. Check. Happy cat. All right. Over here, we're going to, let's just rewrite this real quick. This is like 4 plus x all divided by 10. So if you take something and you divide it by 10, the way to undo that is to multiply it by 10. So we're going to multiply this by 10, both sides by 10. Think of it like this, 10 over 1, and we can cancel. So we get 4 plus x equals minus 20, and that's by the multiplication property of equality. And now we're going to, we have our x and our 4, so let's get this x on the left, so we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. And then these will cancel, and I'll have an x on the left and a minus 24 on the right. And we're done. And this was by the subtraction property of equality. Now we do our check. 4 plus negative 24 over 10 equals negative 2. 4 plus negative 24 is negative 20 over 10 equals negative 2. Check. Happy cat. All right, so hopefully you're getting the hang of it. Remember, I mean, every step, all we have on these steps are these 7 things. So let's go to our final step, our final equation. It's a little bit trickier. I think this is a 3 or 4 step problem. So pause and try. Pause and try. All right, I assume you're back now. Let's do this one in purple. So the first thing I'm going to do, whenever I see parentheses, I'm really going to like this distribution thing. So let's go 4x plus 8. 4x times 4 plus 4 times 2 is 8. Plus x equals 10x minus 27. And that's by distribution. Now I see that I have multiple x's on this side, so I'm going to add those together. 4x and 1x is 5x plus 8 equals 10x minus 27. And that's by combining like terms. Okay, now let's decide where we want to get our x's. Let's get our x's maybe on the right, and then our constants on the left. We've been getting our x's on the left and our constants on the right, but let's do it the other way this time. Okay, it's going to work out a little nicer. So we get 8. These go away. 5x minus 5x equals 10x minus 5x is 5x minus 27. And this is by the subtraction property of equality. I subtracted 5x from both sides. Now, let's get these constants on this side. 35, 8 and 27 is 35 equals 5x. And that's by the addition property of equality. We added 27 to both sides. Now our last step is we're going to divide by 5. 5x divided by 5 gives us x equals 7. And so that's the division property of equality. Okay, now let's go ahead and check our answer here. So we have 7 equals x. So we're going to put a 7 in wherever we see an x up there. So 4 times 7 plus 2 plus 7 equals 10 times 7 minus 27. So let's simplify each side and see if we have two things that are equal. Well, we have 4 times 9 plus 7 equals 70 minus 27. Well, 70 minus 27 is 43, and this is 36 plus 7. 36 plus 7 is 43 equals 43. So we have checked, this was our check step. We checked it. Our answer is x equals 7. We are done. Well done. This was a whoa, sideways happy cat. This was a 5-step problem with kind of a complicated check. We should be very proud of ourselves if we've gotten this. The homework is going to be no more difficult than any of the problems that we've done under this homework help. So hopefully this was good for you. I'll bring you back and we'll just let you go. And look at what I can do here. I just learned how to do this. I can give myself a mustache. Look at that. And it kind of follows me around. I got a purple mustache. Look at that. All right. Good. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We're going to come back with 8 and 4, lesson 5 soon. Keep your eyes peeled.